Alrighty. We got a pup sitting back there. A terrified pup on this July 7th, 2018. It's storming out here. And I gave her one of the patented $8 per pill anxiety pills from the old Dr. Reno, where they be sure to tell you, give them one to calm them down, give them two, and you'll be dead. Has done nothing. It worked for the 4th of July, where, it's loud. And even then, it kind of rained then too, so there really wasn't much going on. But anyways, the dog might be jumping up, going nuts here if it thunders. But that's neither here nor there. Bought a blue Yeti, the black edition, hooked it up, configured it, set up all my VST plugins. Sounds like dog shit. I don't know if it's me. I spent about 2 hours trying to tune it. Couldn't get it to work. Part of it, I think, is that bass is awful. It sends everything from the desk upward. But the mic itself, the front-facing cardioid mic, sounds super hollow. And my $15 Chinesium microphone here, I think, sounds much better. So we got that all set back up. And then I retuned the mic, retuned my $10 soft lights, had arts and crafts, I cut out some nice little circles, taped them over the LEDs, and yeah, that's where we're at today. But we're gonna be playing the beginner's guide. This looked pretty interesting. It was a $2 buy during the sale, the Steam summer sale. We're going to try it out. I think it's a psychological game. The tagline is something like, I don't know. It's very Stanley Parable-ish. Like, you get to play somebody dealing with something they don't quite comprehend. I think it's somewhere in that ballpark. But, that's what it do. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in and begin the game. Okay. Okay. We got the WASD control.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story,
that's why I felt
today,
like Stanley Parable.
I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way.
Just wanted to move the microphone without blowing out the boom.
Colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Wow, that's a lot of narration. Okay, so like kind of a super meta game. We're playing a game of the guy's interpretations of games that a recluse friend threw away that he felt had some sort of significance. And of course, within that, this is all just from an actual game developer who didn't probably have a friend who made a bunch of throwaway games. And it's actually the guy making a game about a guy making a game about such and such. It's very hipster. Okay.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift disruption imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
I ran out of ammo.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room. Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering a whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it?
Sure.
Would you give yourself?
I will sacrifice my life for the greater good of the ship. Let's do it.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay.
the beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay. I hope that this gets significantly weirder, scarier, or psychological, because I am not a fan of finding meaning in absolutely everything, because sometimes brick walls
So
are
try
just
walking
brick
backwards.
walls. Okay, can't move. There we go.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards. So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope. It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Okay. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
And we'll never get to the top of the staircase.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Okie dokie.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Okay. This game is not for me. This game it's a very kitschy game. I'm sure there's lots of people who've purchased it, played it. I think it's amazing. I know it's about an hour and a half game. I'm not going to talk bad about it. I understand that I need to keep playing it to get to pull the thing out of it that makes the thing good, makes the game good. That thing I do not want to pursue. This is not something I want to play. I'd rather take my time and put it in Scary Game or Arma or Infra or something else that I'm already playing, or go look at indie games. So we're going to end it here because I am not having a good time, and why would I play a game I don't like? And we'll pick up something else that's a little more my speed. Thanks.